Today, we're going to talk about the 8-word mission statement. Welcome back to Social Impact Live. I'm your host, Darrell Coleman, and I came across an interesting framework the other day that I thought I would share with you, something that I'm still sort of formulating in my own mind, how it fits into what I do. But I found it to be really powerful and a really useful addition to what we talked about yesterday, which was how to find your power to create massive social change. And the thing that I learned about just the other day was the 8-word mission statement. Today, actually, I had the opportunity to teach a lecture at the Stanford Graduate School of Business focused on social impact design. And this is part of the Race and Power Scholars series, the Leadership and Society series that's taking place for a set of race and power scholars, students who are focused on creating positive change in the world and who are also Graduate School of Business students. And as I was preparing for this, I had the chance to listen in on a lecture that had taken place before mine so that mine can link together. And it was by a woman named Laura Hattendorf, who works at the Malago Foundation, which is an investor in early stage enterprises that are seeking to create positive change in the world. And she was talking about a lot of things related to different topics for creating social change. One of the things that she mentioned was this 8-word mission statement. And so I went online and I Googled for that, and I ended up coming across an article in the Stanford Social Innovation Review that talked more about this. And it was just really an interesting read for me as I thought about how well it fit into what we've been talking about before. So I want to give you that framework here today, tell you why I think it's useful, and hopefully you can apply it to the work that you're doing. So basically, the 8-word mission statement isn't something that's really complex. What I can gather from this article and the examples that have been given here is it's actually quite simple, and it's intended to be quite simple. It is meant to boil down your mission statement into 8 simple words. And in the article, it asks the question, why 8 words? It seems like 8 words just works. And so the writer of the article, Kevin Starr, who directs the Malago Foundation, he gave a few examples that I want to give you here as well. So some examples that he gave were Save Kids in Uganda, right? Very simple statement. You can understand what that organization is focused on doing. Rehabilitate coral reefs in the Western Pacific. Another simple example. Prevent maternal child transmission of HIV in Africa. And then get Zambian farmers out of poverty. Those were 4 examples that I pulled from the article. If you're interested in reading more about it, I would definitely encourage you to go find that article as well. Just type in 8-word mission statement into Google and it should pop up probably as the first or second link. But I thought that these examples were really powerful because a lot of times whenever we're in the social impact space and you read a mission statement from an organization, you read their vision statement, you get something that's really long. It's full of fluff. It has a lot of common words in it like thrive and improve quality of life and empower and those pieces. And so I thought this was useful because along with the examples, there are also what I gathered some key elements to making this mission statement a good one. And those actually align really well with the principles of design thinking that we use in our work as we guide social impact organizations to create deeper and more lasting change as well. And so some of the key elements of this statement for you to keep in mind as you create yours, whether you're just starting off or whether you've been on this journey for a long time, are the following. One is that you'll notice that each of the statements I just read, right, Save Kids in Uganda, for example, they target a specific who. So who is it that you are trying to impact? It needs to be included in the 8 words. And so in this case, it would be kids in Uganda or kids, right? They also have a specific where. So this is the Uganda part of Save Kids in Uganda. And then they also have a measurable goal. Now, actually, in the case of Save Kids in Uganda, I'm not exactly sure of what the save means. It may mean save from war. It may mean save from poverty. It may be save from a bunch of situations. And so perhaps it needs to be defined a little bit more clearly, or maybe it's based on context. But the example of rehabilitate coral reefs in the Western Pacific, right? We know that we are focused on coral reefs. That's our who in this case. It is a living entity. We are focused on the Western Pacific as our where, and the rehabilitation part is something that is measurable. You can begin to see how coral reefs are recovering. You can find ways to track and measure that. Prevent maternal child transmission of HIV in Africa. You can look at the previous rates of transmission. You can look at the current rates of transmission to measure what's happening. But we also know that our focus here is on the maternal child transmission. So in some sense, the mother and the child are the focus here. That's who we're trying to prevent the transmission from, specifically to that child. And then the HIV in Africa. So Africa is the space that we know we're focused on. All right. It just feels like a really powerful framework, and it really aligns with one of the frameworks we use in design thinking, which is our define phase, the second phase of this design thinking process that I've talked about on this channel before. That really focuses in on saying, if you haven't defined very clearly the problem that you're going to solve, you're going to end up creating a solution either to a problem that no one has, or you're going to end up solving a problem that's not very important. And that's not what you want to be doing. So keep those elements in mind. Create a statement that is very clear about who it's targeting, that is very clear about where it's focused, and that has a measurable goal in it. The article also goes on to give a couple of insights about which words are not real impacts. So creating awareness, for example, empowering people and changing attitudes are not real impacts, at least according to this article. And in some senses, I understand what the author means by that. What he's really saying is that they aren't what you ultimately want to have happen. They are usually things that trigger other outcomes. So for example, if we are trying to create awareness around the existence of a given service, the actual impact is that more people would use the service. The actual impact is that more people would benefit from whatever that service offers. So if that service is something that promises to help someone move out of poverty, then the actual measurement is getting people out of poverty. It's not awareness. Awareness is a step on the journey, right? If we want to change people's attitudes so that they're less racist, for example, the actual outcome, it exists within the way that they treat other people. It exists in the opportunities that are now afforded to other people. You would begin to see different movement for those that you're ultimately trying to serve. And changing attitudes is one of the methods that you're going to use to get there. All right. So you want to keep that in mind. Like, stick to the really simple things. What are the things that you're really trying to accomplish? You want to get people out of poverty. You want to rehabilitate coral reefs. You want to stop the transmission of disease. These are things that are more tangible, and see if you can think about the impacts you might want to create in that sense. So I want to wrap this up here with the last few minutes. So I really like this framework because it aligns so well with what we've been talking about on this channel, which is ultimately finding your power and creating change in the world. As you go out and you say, where do I fit best? What is it that I can do to create the greatest impact in the world? The question also becomes on who, right? Where, and what is the ultimate outcome that you're trying to achieve? And so you can create an 8-word mission statement for your own life. This applies to you whether you're just starting on your journey or whether you've been on your journey for quite a while. I think that if I were to come up with an 8-word mission statement for this channel, right, this is something that I want to be transparent about. I was thinking about this for my business, DC Design, which is the consulting firm that I was just telling you about. And I need to think about it more because currently our mission statement has a few more elements to it. One element would be, reducing poverty in America for low-income people of color. Another version could be reducing poverty in America for Black Americans and others who struggle with that condition. But poverty alone reduction is not really all that we focus on. So perhaps we're a little bit more broad than we need to be if we're trying to fit into this. But when I did come up with an example, I was thinking of this channel, right? What am I trying to do here on this channel? Why am I talking to you every single day? Why am I coming to you? And the 8-word mission statement for this channel would be get more people to create meaningful social impact. That would be the way that I would look at that. And when I say meaningful, it would be looking at things that truly impact the quality of life of other individuals. I might need to drill into that a little bit more on that last piece, what is meaningful social impact. But that's ultimately the goal that I'm trying to accomplish here. And so this is a work in progress for me. It's a new framework that I'm working with. But I wanted to offer it up to you so that you could ponder it and figure out how you include it in your own life as well. Fortunately for me, I have time to think about this, and so do you. My lecture today is going to focus on how do you go from mega worldwide problems down into really small, actionable problems for you to work on, and then how do you, once you've got that idea of what that problem is, actually begin to make real progress. What are your next steps right after that? So, um, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, I can bring you that on this channel as well. Just let me know in the comments, and I will be on the lookout for what you have to say. If this was useful for you, do share with other folks that you think it might be useful with as well, and give this a like, which is always helpful for making sure that others can see it, and we can grow this community of social impact doers. All right. Thanks so much for your time. This is another episode of Social Impact Live. I'll see you tomorrow.